have to do that, and then maybe use your blending cones and then do some blending. And I noticed that I think I kind of closed my eyes too much, so I'll open up a little bit, right? Okay. And I just want, sometimes you can use this to take out the little charcoal. It's such a kind of tiny area that this might work the best, right? Okay. And then I see a little bit of like a shadow here. I need to add the line at the bottom. I always kind of go back and blend it, right? And it's really about controlling the value. Okay, so here I have a little bit of shadow, more dark shadow here, and blend it away like that, right? And if your eraser is too big, you can obviously cut it. Right? And then I'm just gonna work on one area. I see the highlights, right, on below the eyebrow. Okay. Kind of blend it like that. And then I started to see the highlights in the forehead area. Like this. Right? And then lots of highlights on cheek area here. And I realized, okay, I have to really bring up the lights here. So just like the piece before, it really is sort of like a back and forth, adding the highlights. And I used the chamois a little bit, right? Okay, I definitely have to like move things around a lot here. Once you have one area kind of started building up, you can get the better idea about proportion as well. Okay, so maybe something like that, I guess. Okay. I see the shadows, right? And then more shadows. Remember, you can do this, right? Okay. And more shadows around here. But then I see the highlights here. More highlights here. Right, okay, so then I realized, okay, maybe I really have to create the hairline much higher. Right, and then since I don't want to have any outline, I'm just gonna kind of clean. Okay. It's probably okay, so I have to go like that. This drawing is gonna take a lot of time, so obviously I'm not really finishing, but I just wanted to show you how you can develop the area. So right now I have this outline, right? So the way that I create the volume really is to, here's my ear, make the background darker, right? Remember, it's just all about the edges. So hard edges and soft edges. So I'm making the background, and oh, I think I took it way too much, but still have that good residues there. And so the face is much lighter than the background. Okay, but at the same time, the side of the face, as it recedes away from you, there's that, it kind of looks like an egg, right? It gets a little darker as it recedes away. And the skin right here is a little darker because it's spatially, it's behind the face. And then I see the highlights here, gradually blend it like so, right? And then my dress is much darker here, and it's darker than the background, so my dress should be the darkest, right? And if I want, I can just kind of go back and make the background a little lighter, like so, right? And then the you know, I just want to make sure, remind myself that that's the ear, my ears, right? Okay. And then my hair, have a lot of kind of hair and it's up, so I have to go back and work on the hair. And at this point, I'm just gonna do some highlights to create a little bit of the volume of the hair. You know, highlight is not this bright, but just wanted to see a little bit of the movement like that. Right? Okay. And so like this, you just really started to work on creating a volume. It's gonna take a long time, so you have about 2 weeks, right? And this is a good amount of time to really develop and then get into the details. My photo is not super ideal. I think that, you know, I can use a little bit more contrast, but since conceptually it's very important for me and I really wanted to use this photo. Once you go back with the fingers, the charcoal started to really blend into the paper so that it looks more convincing. You can use the corners, right, to really erase. I think I have to show more white part of my eye, and a little bit more highlights like this, right? And clean the edges, always kind of going back. My eyes are much more round, I think, and there's some highlights at the bottom. I'll do a little bit of blending. Right, and notice just kind of making the highlights more clear like that. And I noticed the shadows, which create the crease of your eye. I might have to open my eyes a little bit because as I'm adding, I started to change the shape of the eye, so I might have to make it a little bit more round. So it's kind of back and forth like this, and then I lost the contrast, and it's also a little bit difficult to work on this demo because my camera is right in front of it. So okay, and then I really started to see this kind of V shape of the highlights, right? Okay, notice that. It's just more noticeable here. Okay, more highlights here. I'm just not gonna work on this area at all right now because it's already such a quite long demo. Right, okay, so something like that, right? Okay, I haven't even done the lips. And upper lips are much darker than the bottom. I'll do the blending with the blending comb like this. But as you notice, the bottom lips are much more lighter than the top, right? Okay, so I have to erase and to create the sense of volume, right? Like this. I'm not editing this videos because I really wanted to show you like how it's going to develop. So sorry for the long demo. And then you see the cat shadows at the bottom, right? Okay, so I'll do that. And this looks like an outline, you know, so I'm gonna have to blend them, and so that I just have edges. And you know, this side I'm not gonna really work on it at this point. So I think you can kind of start to see a little bit of the volume, right? Okay, and more highlights on the chin area. If you really look at the face, you do see this kind of it's the elevations, if like as if you're this is the map and you're looking at the face as like a topographical, like a map, and you can see the area that's high elevation, it receives more highlights, right? So more highlights here. I obviously have to do more fixing and the proportion, but maybe the half of the face, I think it started to have a little bit more volume and illusions. So this is back and forth and back and forth. So I hope this gives you the information how you can start it, right? Look at your drawing like a lot. You know, you need to really look at it for a long time because you just don't see it just by looking at it for a short time. So now I'm looking at this kind of edges inside of the eye, and now I see more highlights. I have to add it here. You know, I've done this, but like it's just more about like pushing your charcoal in the right places and make it more realistic, right? So that, I think it's better. You can always add. Erasing is slightly more difficult, right, than adding. Okay. All right, so this is the demo. I hope with this, okay, so the half of this is still like kind of messed up, but then this half, I think you can kind of see the volume of it. All right, so hope you can continue and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, bye. Good luck. Okay, so I just wanted to follow up a little bit about this drawing, and I worked on it maybe after the demo, maybe 10-15 minutes or so, and you can kind of see how I think the proportions a little better. Of course, there's a lot that I still have to fix on the right hand, but I was able to kind of create a little bit more about the form, right? So, and I also worked on the hair a little bit. I get a lot of questions about the hairs, and what you want to do is you want to have a highlights and a dark kind of alternating, light and dark and light and dark, so that it creates the kind of strength of the hair. So it's important that you have some kind of definitions of the hair here. I actually used the Photoshop and kind of made the hair highlights exaggerated, you know, so it's a little easier for me to look at it. I also worked on the eyes a little bit more. I still have a lot of fixing to do, but I think I was kind of able to achieve the general kind of a form, like illusion of the form, so that here's the cheek. There's like kind of like a cheek fat. It's kind of raised, and then since I'm kind of smiling, so that the muscles are kind of pulled, so that there's an indentation here, and the raise of the nose, this side is receding away, and this is the highlight, so it advanced towards you. And so there's that more three-dimensional form. And lips, I was able to create the volume of the lips. You can see that the bottom lips are kind of raised up, and then here's the cat shadow, right? And then overall, as a face, it kind of, you know, visualize like a shape of the egg, so that receding end here is darker, and then there's more highlights on the surface here. So I was visualizing that, and of course I was looking at the photo. So and I think you can see the neck area too. There's that spatial illusions, right? So the face is on the front, the neck, and then the shoulders, so that the shoulders are the receding, the most receding spatial area, and the neck and the face, right? And you have to do different values. If the values are similar, you can't create the illusions or the dimensions, so you do have to change the value. The challenge is to just read your value correctly, and you have to make sure that you manipulate the value contrast on your drawing. It's not going to be a photograph. This is the freehand, so that you have to think about the proportions and value contrast, the details, right? So there's a lot that you need to digest. That's why this assignment takes so long. That's why you have 2 weeks to do so. So first, as you saw me working on the general form, and then start building. And I still haven't built this eye yet. I should actually start first so that this isn't the most undeveloped area. You want to develop your drawing gradually in like equal sort of amount, right? And the highlights, no, sorry, the textures of the eyebrows, I used the charcoal, right? And then what I did was I used the eraser to erase the hair textures. So it looks a little bit more like a realistic textures, right? The nuances of the eyes are very important. I think the shape of the eyes are, I think, still round. And then the edge of the eye, I think my eyelid covers, and it has a distinctive kind of covers on the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid. Some people they meet in one point, but some people don't. So there's a lot of nuances. I think the nose looks pretty good. It's slightly bigger, I think. I might have to fix this side. But this side, I think I'm pretty happy. And it may be slightly angling up on my photos compared to the drawing. I do see the center of the lips are slightly more curved up. So these are the nuances that you just have to realize it, and but I think this is a good start for me. So good luck, and shoot me if you have any questions.